Hello everyone, this is Daniel, and today we're going to look at grading currency, and also we're going to look at RQN, which is Review Quality Notes. If you haven't heard of that, then you want to stay tuned to listen to what I have to say. First, I want to show you go to coin auctions, and you can buy currency from legitimate dealers, so you come over to go to coin auctions and buy your currency. As I was saying, Review Quality Notes is a company that is like CAC. If you don't know what CAC is, it's a sticker for review of graded coins. And you might see it, they call it a little green beanie, but this is the currency version of that. I set up at the coin shows with Vince Cavo. He's the one that owns this company, and he has been dealing in notes for decades. And what he does is he'll take your already graded notes as a submission. You just submit just like you would any other grading service. And he will look at your notes and he will determine if they're quality as graded, okay? If they are as graded. If they don't get the sticker. Now, if you come down through here on his website, you can take a look and you can see what he looks at. They analyze how centered the note is, whether there's any foxing or toning or distractions, like stains. Foxing is typically a stain. Some believe that it could be a little bit of a mold that's in the fiber of the note. Little things like that. He uses a black light, obviously. Make sure there's no pinholes, make sure there's no repairs, make sure the note's not been played with. That way, when RQN puts their sticker on your notes, that means your note meets the criteria for the grade that's on that graded note. So I wanted to introduce that, and not only that, once you have this guarantee, this quality, that your note meets the standard of the grade that's on the label, people tend to pay a little more for these notes. Now, it's starting to catch on. The thing of it is that in the past, this was only for EPQ notes, the higher grade notes. Now it's been expanded to notes that any graded note you can submit to RQN. This note sold for $3,200, so according to eBay here. And when you come over here to Heritage and you see the same note sold for $2,400, and that includes the buyer's premium. So that's just one example, and I've seen a couple other ones, but I just wanted to show you that there's the potential here to increase the value of your notes by submitting to RQN and getting that sticker on your notes. Now we want to talk about grading notes. Now this is PMG. This is one of the companies that I recommend to send your currency to. And once you look down through their site, it will talk a little bit about EPQ, what that is. It's important just to come in here and read it. I'm not going to get into the higher grade uncirculated notes. We're going to talk about the lower grades up to uncirculated. Over here on Heritage, they also have explanations. One of the things that's very important, it's like in good. You've got a note here that's in this grade will be heavily worn, soiled, torn, taped, holed, or missing small pieces from the design. That describes a good. And that's your foundation. There's going to be notes in worse condition, but this is the foundation for most notes. It's hard to sell notes that look worse than this. It's hard to sell notes that look like that in the first place sometimes. But what we'll do is we'll come over here and we'll look at a closer image of it. You can see the missing areas. You can see that it's got staining and foxing. It has pinholes and things like that. That's going to describe the good note. Then we come over to very good. And this one's going to have less damage, basically. You still have a lot of folds, you still have some little stains and things like that on it, toning. But this note still looks better. So you're increasing, and that's a very good 8 note there. And you can see the reverse of it. And then we come to fine. Now we're getting into a little better condition. You still have some toning up here, a little stain on the note. You're going to have folds, wrinkles. There's a little bit of an area issue there. And as I said, this is just basic. We aren't going into a lot of detail on this. It's very important to study resources to find out what grade your notes are going to be. Here's another. This is the 5,000. Now, this one here is very fine 25. And you can see the folds. A crease across, folds. It's got several folds on it. That typically defines a very fine. And like I said, there is very fine 20 to very fine 35. So there's going to be varying degrees of folds and things like that. But typically when you see 3 and 4 folds across and then one fold, and it's going to be pretty obvious folds, then you know that your note's going to be in the very fine range. Here's the back, and this really shows you the folds. This one's probably was folded into a little square at one time, it looks like. It's pretty close to being folded like that. Like I said, it's still a nice note, obviously, and it was punch canceled for the Chinese. Then we're going to the extra fine. Now, a lot of people have problems here because they start thinking these notes are going to be AU, and when you look at images, it's actually just as easy to manipulate images so you can't see the damage on these, or at least the folds on these. But this one's going to have vertical folds, and if you go back to what it describes here, what they have for extra fine, it says a note in this grade will be bright, fresh, crisp, and attractive, but a few light folds or bends may be present. And like I said, you can read the rest of this and know that this does have some light folding. It might look nice. The problem I see is that people thinking this is an AU note and trying to sell it for that raw on eBay. And that's why notes that are this expensive, the more rare notes, they just need to be sent off. It's kind of hard to see, the little folds that you need to see in this. And don't get me wrong, you're going to run into the same thing. It's one of the reasons why I was talking about RQN, review quality notes, is because sometimes notes aren't graded exactly the way they should be. And if you send it to them, they can review that and tell you. And let you know and to put a sticker on it or not. Then we come over to AU. Now we're going to look at a few of the almost uncirculated notes here. I want to go back and I want to review what Heritage says that's almost uncirculated. And an AU note will have one or more light folds that are not heavy in nature or obtrusive to the overall appearance. So in other words, it might have a light fold at one time. And this is one of the problems you can run into. People can iron them out, they can fix them, try to make them look more nice, put them in books and things like that. There are some things that are allowed, but you got to really watch out for that. So here it is. 3 vertical bends would be acceptable for this grade if they do not break the surface of the paper. So it's very important. Light folds that are very light can be present, okay? Then you have choice almost uncirculated, okay? Now this one here is basically a just missed for an uncirculated grade. There'll be something that's there, maybe just a slight fold somewhere, just something where it shows that it's been circulated a little bit. So we'll take a look here. So we've got this one, and like I said, it's very difficult to see any folds. I saw a little light fold here, but you're looking for no breaks in the surface of the note. That's why it's very important to send notes like this off and just have them graded. We'll look at another one here. This is the AU53. Like I said, the images really don't do justice to the notes as far as trying to find out exactly. As I could see a note like this being sold on eBay as raw and circulated, and it's really not a good idea to buy them like that unless you're buying from a reputable dealer or buying them already graded. You can see a little bit of, looks like a little bit of a stain here and here, but it's just really difficult to find it. Here's a little bend on the corner. These little things like this, the foxing and all, will actually show you that the currency has been circulated just a little bit. You got to look really close at these. A lot of people use a black light, they hold them up to the light, and they look at them really close. Then we come over here, and we're going to look at another about uncirculated note. And, it's just very, like I said, you've got to look real close at these. This one here is pretty close. I can see just a tad little fold here, right here on the corner. So yeah, you just got to look them over really close. Now this one here is crisp uncirculated. And when you're looking at this note, we're going to look at as close as we can. There's not going to be any bends. There's not going to be evidence of circulation. Now this one here is raw. I see a little thing right here, so I'm not sure what that is. It could be just something that was on the note. They took a picture of it. I see a little area right here. Like I said, you really have to look at these notes close. You really have to know what you're doing because you are going to look for stains. You're going to make sure there's no folds, no evidence that the currency's been tampered with at all. And that's why it's just important to have them graded, and once you have them graded, just have them reviewed. And you can get back to Heritage and look through the superb gem, which paper quality, you've got well centered, little things like that that come into consideration on a note that's never been spent, touched much, or really printed really well and centered well, cut centered and all that. That's very important things here. So thanks for watching my latest video. Please like, share, and comment, and subscribe, and have a great day.